The Pantheon of Theros, home to the deities that mortals worship, should be host to 15 gods, one for each color of mana, and one for each colored pair. So why is it that only 14 stand? Every pair is accounted for save that of red and green. That space sat vacant for millennia until the satyr planeswalker Xenagos carried out a ritual to ascend to godhood and temporarily filled it. His intrusion into the Pantheon was short-lived. Elspeth Tiril, bent on revenge for her lover Daxos, followed him to Nyx, the realm of the divine, where she used her magical spear Godsend to destroy him. With Xenagos gone, the seat has once again been emptied and the Pantheon has only 14 gods. The mortals of Theros have known nothing else, and they've forgotten that a god ever existed to fill the seat. But why has it been empty for so long, and what's happened to the being that once belonged? To answer those questions, we must travel thousands of years into Theros' past, to the Age of Titans. In the plane's early days of existence, Theros was ruled by the Titans, massive personifications of the forces of nature, of life and death and everything in between. The destruction that the Titans wrought made it nearly impossible for other species and civilizations to develop. Humans, Leonin, Minotaurs, all were slaughtered by the thousands. With no way to survive the Titans' wrath on their own, they turned to prayer. They knew no higher power but prayed regardless, hoping that some being was listening. The very nature of the plane and its mana reserves are deeply tied to belief and devotion, and from mortal prayer sprang immortal beings from the heavens, the Gods of Theros. These gods embodied the hopes and dreams of the mortals and brought a swift reckoning to the Titans. For years they battled, and with each victory the mortals' belief skyrocketed, buoying the gods' strength and transforming them into beings powerful enough to overthrow the Titans, bringing a sense of calm to the realm of mortals. Although defeated, the Titans could not be destroyed. They were the essence of Theros, but they could not remain in the mortal realm. Heliod, god of the sun, and his brother Erebos, god of the dead, decided that the Titans must be bound in the underworld for eternity, or else they would kill the civilizations of Theros and weaken the source of the gods' power. But death alone would not be enough to hold these creatures in the underworld. The full power of fate would also be needed to keep them shackled to their destinies. And so it is that the god of destiny Klothys agreed to relinquish her place in the Pantheon and act as warden of the Titans, sealing them in the underworld until the end of time. This epic tale is given to us in the saga The Binding of the Titans. Its art is that of a weathered statue depicting Klothys in the underworld with her strands of destiny wrapped tightly around the Titans. It's interesting to note that the statue shows a third Titan behind Kroxa and Uro, a small hint that there were originally going to be a cycle of Titans in the set. The abilities of the card tell the tale of creatures being taken to the underworld, or the graveyard, and then being sealed or exiled within. Klothys has maintained vigilance at her post for thousands of years and has been utterly forgotten by the mortals she once saved. But the recent War of the Gods is raging above, and it has sent shockwaves through the underworld. As more and more beings escape their fate and leave the underworld, it stirs the long-dormant god of destiny, who refuses to remain forgotten for long. With the release of Theros Beyond Death, the long empty 15th seat of the Pantheon is once again filled by the god of destiny. If we take a look at her card, we can see that Klothys wears a strip of cloth over her eyes, seemingly blinding her. This is meant to signify impartiality and justice, and as the god of fate and destiny, she is as far-seeing as the god Krufix, and does not need to rely on vision to see what is, what will be, and what has already come to pass. This is a gift that Klothys passes on to her most devoted followers, which is depicted in the card Klothys' Design. Both individuals also have their eyes covered up, and they are surrounded by threads of fate. These threads can be seen on many cards involving the god of destiny, and if we further dissect her art, we see that she carries a massive spear that holds a spool of thread whose tendrils wisp around her. These are the strands of destiny which Klothys deftly weaves into a tapestry of fate. If any creature strays from its predetermined course, Klothys must only pluck on the strands to set off a cascade of events that guide the creature back. The god of destiny has been at her post in the underworld for centuries, acting as warden over the imprisoned titans, and she has even gained a following of souls within the underworld, which can be seen on the card Warden of the Chained. Her followers work hard to maintain their grip on the titans, but the war between the gods on the mortal realm has shaken it loose. Soon all manner of beings, including the dormant titans, can taste the freedom that life has to offer, and start to make their way to the rifts forming between the underworld and the mortal realm. This utter disregard for the way of things infuriates Klothys, who sees any attempt to escape the underworld as a transgression against destiny. She awakens in a molten hot explosion of fury, determined to tie up loose ends and return a sense of order to Theros. Klothys sets about weaving all manner of Nyx-born creations to assist her in her task. Her greatest creation is an agent of fate known as Calyx, whose job is to hunt down the planeswalker Elspeth and prevent her from escaping her destiny. These agents of fate can journey into the mortal realm to return those who have strayed too far, while the god herself remains in the underworld to hunt down the unchained titans. We can see her efforts visualized in the card Fateful End. Now, whether this creature is a titan is not known, but it is a being large enough and powerful enough to command Klothys' full attention. This may have been one of those titans that was supposed to make an appearance in the set. With the story of Klothys explained, it's time to turn our attention towards some more speculative thoughts regarding the god of destiny. There are a few cards that refer to fate and destiny printed before Beyond Death was released. Agent of the Fates, Triad of Fates, Fate Unraveler, and Tymna the Weaver. All of these have strong connections to the god of destiny. Fate Unraveler and Tymna the Weaver both refer to strings or threads that can alter a being's destiny, and Tymna is even wearing a cloth strip over her eyes, much like Klothys and her disciples. The Triad of Fates have been known to control other creatures' destiny, and may even wield enough power to control the actions of gods. I think it's interesting to note that all of these cards are black and white rather than red and green. This may be meant to symbolize the millennia-long absence of the god, whose followers have turned to other sources of mana, or it's because destiny has a large hand in life and death, whose primary colors of mana are white and black. Or it may even be because Klothys has spent so much time in the underworld that it has altered what mana colors her powers manifest in. Regardless of the reasoning why, I think it's logical to assume that all of these creatures are indeed connected to the god of destiny and work to impart her will. Thanks for listening to our breakdown of the new yet somehow ancient god of destiny and 15th god of the Pantheon of Theros. In our next video, I'll break down the underworld of Theros, its locations, and the nature of death on the plane. Until then, go forth and explore the lore.